many ways, this Nomos Club Sport Neomatic 37 is the perfect everyday watch. But is it right for you? Well, let's review it and figure that out. The watch has a 37mm case diameter, it's 48mm from one lug to another, only 8.5mm case thickness, and the lug width is 18mm. The case is made out of stainless steel, it's an all high polish finish, there are no satin finishes on this case whatsoever. The execution on the finish is really good, it's exactly what you would expect for a watch over $3,000. By the way, this one costs $3,500 with a display caseback. The caseback is screwed down, which is surprising because the watch is only 8.5mm thick. And the crown is at the 3 o'clock position. It's a pull-push style crown. Let's actually take a minute and appreciate these mad engineers from Germany. Somehow they created an automatic watch with a sapphire caseback and a sapphire crystal, 200 meters of water resistance, and all of that in a case that's under 8.5mm thick. There are dress watches that are way thicker than this watch, and they have like 30 meters of water resistance. So I have no idea how Nomos managed to get 200 meters of water resistance out of this case. It's truly amazing, and that's what makes this watch such a great contender for an everyday wear. On my 7.5 inches wrist, the watch actually looks fantastic. At first, I thought the watch would be too small for me because, let's face it, 37mm case diameter is quite small. But because of the long lug-to-lug distance, this watch wears larger. I'd say it wears closer to 39mm almost. In fact, here's the watch next to my Explorer. The Explorer is of course 39mm, this Nomos is 37mm. As you can see, yes, Nomos is smaller, but it doesn't look that much smaller. The two watches look very comparable in size, and in fact they wear very similar. But the thing about Nomos, it's extremely thin, so actually it's a much more comfortable watch to wear. That 8.5mm thickness is one of my favorite parts about this watch. It just disappears on your wrist, it's so damn comfortable to wear. I bought a Nomos leather strap to wear with this watch sometimes, and I think on the strap the watch looks great, it wears great, and it totally changes the character of this watch. It goes from being a sporty timepiece into something more of a dress watch. And in fact, if you wanted to, throw it on a leather strap and you can wear it as a dress watch. After wearing this watch on a leather strap, I kind of wish that Nomos actually included a leather strap with this watch because it looks so natural on a leather strap. To be fair, their straps are not that expensive. I only paid 100 Canadian dollars for this one, which all things considered is fairly reasonable for a strap from Nomos with Nomos branding on a buckle, but I think having it included with the watch would have been a better decision for Nomos. By default, the watch comes on a stainless steel bracelet. It has a satin finish on the outer link and a high polish finish on the center link. And yes, that center link picks up scratches like no tomorrow. On top of that, the clasp is actually finished with high polish, which also picks up a lot of scratches. I only had this watch for about a month and it already picked up quite a few scratches. Speaking of the clasp, it's an engineered clasp with 3 micro adjustments. There is a bit of rattle on the clasp, but it's not too bad. It also has a quick release for micro adjustments, something that I haven't seen before and something that I think is a really good idea. There are also quick releases on the bracelet itself, so you can easily swap it for a leather strap like I've done. And that's why, again, I think a leather strap being included with this watch would have been a great thing. One of the quirkiest things about this bracelet is the fact that the Nomos signature is reversed. In fact, when you buy this watch, the clasp is opening the other way. I don't know why Nomos has to be different this way, but they do want you to open the clasp the other way. I changed that up as soon as I got the watch, and I think it just looks better and fits better the other way, but then you have the signature upside down, so to speak. So it's just a quirky Nomos thing. When I was resizing the watch, I was a bit disappointed to find out that it uses a pin and a collar system instead of screws. I always prefer screws to the pin and collar system. They're just much easier to work with. These pin and collar systems are a bit of a pain in the neck to adjust your bracelet with. Overall, the bracelet is okay. It's probably the weakest link of this watch. Having the high polish finish on the clasp really will attract a lot of scratches. Having that pin and collar system is not my favorite, and this clasp could be re-engineered to feel a little bit more solid. This Club Sport Neomatic 37 comes with two different dial colors. There's the Polar, which is blue, and there's Petrol, which is green. I of course have the Petrol one, and I am glad that I went for this option. I think it looks amazing. It's one of my favorite dial colors that I've reviewed in a very long time. There is a slight sunburst effect to the dial, but it's not overwhelming. It doesn't cheapen the look. The dial has this very rich color, and to truly appreciate this color, you have to look at it outside. Here's some footage that I shot outside. It doesn't really do this watch justice, but it just gives you a better idea of how beautiful this dial can look in natural light. In the artificial lighting situations, it also looks quite gorgeous, but definitely not as good as it does outside. This is one of these dials, one of these watches that you have to see in person. You have to rotate it, you have to try to catch the light in certain angles to really appreciate how complex this color is. As far as the design of the dial, Nomos is sticking with their Bauhaus design language. Of course, you have some Arabic numerals alternating with hashes. There is a sub-dial for the seconds at the 6 o'clock position, and there is a minute open rail running track. Nomos was able to add a little bit of depth to this dial with those concentric circles for the seconds sub-dial. And remember, this is an 8.5 millimeters thickness watch, and it still has a bit of depth. The set of hands are very simple in keeping with this simplistic design language, and of course the hands and the numerals are loomed. Here's a loom shot for your reference. As you can see, the loom is actually pretty good. Nomos is one of the few companies in this price point that makes their own in-house movements. This one is powered by the in-house caliber DUW3001, the no date complication version. It has 27 joules, 43 hours of power reserve, and it beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. If you buy one of these watches, you have the ability to choose it with or without the display case back. For the love of God, choose the display case back. Yes, it costs a little bit more, but it is totally worth it. Just look at this movement. As I said, there aren't too many companies in this price point that even offer their own in-house caliber movements, but especially none that offer their own in-house caliber movements that look like this. They have these Geneva stripes, but I guess they're not called Geneva stripes because this is a German movement, so they just have these horizontal stripes. You can see the jewels, you can see the blued screws, you can see the cutouts in the rotor to display more of this beautiful movement. It's just a pleasure to look at, and if you're buying this watch just for the movement alone, I totally get it. It's amazing. One of the biggest compliments I can give to a watch is to call it unfakeable. Like for example, El Primero from Zenith is an unfakeable watch. Yes, counterfeiters can try to fake it, but one look at the movement will reveal whether it's a fake or a real watch. To fake a watch to that degree, to create such an elaborate movement would cost just way too much money, so it's not worth faking. If you're in business of counterfeiting, you'd just rather go and counterfeit a Submariner or something like that. Much easier. And I think this Nomos joins this club of watches that are unfakeable. I can't even begin to think of another company trying to copy what Nomos has done. Trying to create a movement this thin, then finish it to this standard, then fit it in a case that's only 8.5 millimeters thick, yet it still has a display case back, and give you 200 meters of water resistance. I don't think anyone else would be able to do all of that and still sell the watch for $3,500 US. And that's why it doesn't really make sense to fake a watch like this. So in a lot of ways, this is a special watch. Is it perfect? No. As I mentioned earlier, the bracelet is not my favorite and could definitely use some improvements. I appreciate you watching this video all the way until the end. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss more videos like this in the future, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this watch. Is it a perfect everyday timepiece? Leave your thoughts below. I always enjoy reading them. Thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you next time.